Hey guys, welcome back to the Stuff of Legend. My name is Dilo, and I have another video for you guys. Today's video is about Venom. We're going to be talking about Venom, Sony's Venom movie starring Tom Hardy. Interesting little tidbit about my life. I just got back from watching the Canelo Triple G fight. I will not talk about the outcome because it just happened. I know many of you guys are waiting to see what happened. Who won? Did they tie? What's going on here? But one thing about that I wanted to mention, the reason I'm bringing this up is that the fight was sponsored by none other than Venom, the Venom movie, and Sony. And so I thought this was really cool. It brought this back to my attention, and I wanted to talk about some of the recent news that's been going on regarding Venom and some of the controversy online. It's not really even controversy, actually. There's not a whole lot of people that are really opposed to this, but I've heard some voices, and I wanted to see if I could help calm some of the unease out there. Maybe I don't, maybe I do, who knows? But let's just take a look at this. So Venom has been confirmed. Sony has announced that Venom is in fact going to be rated PG-13. This is the official rating for Venom. And a lot of people were pissed off because they were like, man, Venom has to be rated R. And it's like, he's a villain. He's a bad guy. He's going to tear people apart. We want to see rated R Venom. It's got to be rated R. And my thinking here is that it could be rated R, and like people think Logan was a great movie. People think Deadpool, they enjoyed Deadpool, like where it's appropriate to have, the extra cursing, and you have like your your sexual content, you've got all that stuff. In certain circumstances for certain characters, it can be called for if that's what the character is. But in Venom's case, I wanted to just bring this out. These are my thoughts. Okay, so when it was announced that there was a potential for a rated R version of Venom, I thought, like, okay, that works, I guess. But it kind of takes away from the fact that it's part of the Spider-Man universe. But Daniel, he's not in the Spider-Man universe. Spider-Man's not even a part of the Sony verse yet. Well, the word here is yet. He is going to be a part of that universe at some point. As soon as his run with Marvel is finished, and yes, this is going to happen eventually. Whether it's sooner or later, it is going to happen, and Sony is going to want to merge these universes, and the rating that they just gave it proves that. You can't have Spider-Man in a rated R franchise. It does not work. He's marketable to families and kids, and you can't have that. That's going to destroy his marketing. And it takes him out of being able to sell the lunchboxes and the backpacks and stuff. And with Venom, he's not a hero. He is the definition of an anti-hero. He's not a necessarily evil dude. He's just a guy that has his own struggles. He's got all of his problems. He's a flawed human being like you and me. But in this same circumstance, all of the struggle inside of him gets amplified when he merges with the symbiote. And I know some people will say symbiote, and I'm not going to do that. It's symbiote or symbiote, like as if there was no O. Some people say that or whatever. It does not matter. It truly does not matter. So Venom has always been scary, and he's been, creepy. And the whole idea of him is that he's this big menacing, like, he kind of looks like Spider-Man, but almost like the Hulk version. And he's got these, like, he's a symbiote, so he's got this goo to him, like he tendrils, grabs you and then like pulls you in. If you guys ever played the Ultimate Spider-Man game on, I think it was like they had it on GameCube, or maybe it was PlayStation, I don't remember, but probably PlayStation because Sony does a lot of the Spider-Man stuff, so it's probably PlayStation. Anyway, nonetheless, you could unlock Venom to play in place of Spider-Man after you, I think it was you beat the game or something, or you achieved certain feats. You could unlock him. Same idea. It was like web swinging, and or actually it was super jump, and I think he just used tendrils instead of the webbing. But in the cartoons and in the old comics, he did have that white patch on his wrist, and he would shoot web because he had already accumulated the powers of Spider-Man in a world where Spider-Man actually has powers and it's not a technology. So they're probably not going to go that route here because two reasons. The Spider-Man they hope to one day include in this universe does not have powers for web. He has powers, but not for web. It's his web shooters. And then also, in addition to that, um, he uses the tendrils. And so it doesn't have to be the web. It doesn't have to make sense in that context. He can just do his thing, jump around, and be a savage. So I love the character Venom. I love Eddie Brock. I even enjoyed the Matt Gargan run of Venom. That was a lot of fun. But I'm really grateful that they're sticking with Tom Hardy. Of course, it's going to be a slight alteration because Spider-Man, yes, is not in this universe yet, but the goal for Sony is that he is going to be part of that eventually. So they have to go with the PG-13 version of Venom here, which also gives me a lot of confidence that when we get Michael Morbius, it's also going to be PG-13. Very, very likely, because they're probably going to try to do like the Silver Sable movie, then individually the Black Cat movie, and then probably Kraven, and they're probably going to do a bunch of these like anti-heroes and villains and like these characters that are in the Spider-Man universe. They're probably going to tell their stories first, and then when they plop Spider-Man in there, he's got a world of stories that can be joined, and he can have almost every movie could be him reconnecting with someone and having some crazy conflict or getting in the way of you could have a lot of these different stories. Avoid the origin altogether. We've already seen it. We've already got it. Homecoming proved you don't need to do an origin story to get a character right. And so in that aspect, in that respect for that, I think that'll be just fine. PG-13 works in the context of building this universe for Sony. That's their number one goal. They want it to happen. It's happening. And it's just a matter of when. But they have plans to do that. They're not backing down, and that's why they did that. Not only that, but let's talk about how good Venom can be in PG-13 and without having to go to rated R. So a lot of people were concerned. Like, I've got a buddy. He's really, really funny guy. Love the guy. His complaint with Jurassic Park was with Jurassic Park was he just wants to see a kid get eaten. And he's not morbid. The joke here is that in every single Jurassic Park movie, there's kids that are in danger the entire time, and they're always wicked close to these dinosaurs, and not one single child gets killed by dinosaurs. And so even in the third one with the bird cage, and that kid gets swooped up and he gets pecked in the river to death, but then he's not dead at the end. He's all, I'm okay, guys. It's just a flesh wound. There's like it's the most ridiculous scenarios where the kids should be dead. They should in fact be dead, but they're not. And so this guy made the same joke similarly about Jurassic Park. He's like, in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, I just want to see someone get eaten. I haven't seen that, so don't spoil that for me. But then also on the flip side, what he said about Venom was, I just want to see Venom eat a guy. That's all I want to see. I want to see Venom eat a guy. You can have that. You can have Venom eating a guy in a PG-13 movie because Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park is PG-13. All the Jurassic Park movies are PG-13. They're all pretty violent. They're all pretty dangerous, and that's literally all that you see is dudes getting eaten left and right constantly. It's got the aspect of suspense. It's got some horrific scenes, and then it's also got some scenes where, and it's not hyper gory, but you do see people get chomped up and eaten. You can have that with Venom. Venom is a scary character, but let me remind you, some people might get mad about this. I don't care. Venom is the villain in a kid's story. Spider-Man, who I love probably more than most of you guys, he is my favorite character, superhero. Marvel, DC, doesn't matter. Spider-Man is the top. I love Spider-Man. And I love Venom. Venom's one of my favorite villains of all time. And along with like Magneto, and there's Lex Luthor. There's a few villains that have the top spots for me, not because of power, but because of how those characters are in relation to the hero. But I love how he can be scary. He can be terrifying. He can even eat people. But what gets you that rated R rating is actually not violence, which is why the Jurassic Park films can be the way they are. It's actually, a lot of the time, it has to do directly with excessive cursing. So like cuss words, the F-bombs, saying SHIT, you can finish those. I'm going to try to keep my channel very PG. But all the curse words that we hear on a day-to-day basis, we hear on Netflix left and right. They just got to avoid cursing, avoid sex, and limit the sexual innuendos, and you can have a whole lot of violence and gore. Like they're not like crazy gore, but even I think Jaws, even though this one's older, so it kind of doesn't count because it's an older version of the rating system. Um, it was PG before there was a PG-13, so it wasn't R. It was PG, but that would have been a modern day hard PG-13 because there was some more cussing in there, and there was plenty of gore. But that would fall under PG, not rated R, because they actually tilted it towards PG in the old days. So that would have been in the range of PG-13. And nowadays we see that again with the Jurassic movies, and then with I'm sorry, I think it was Live Free and Die Hard is PG-13. I had a list up here somewhere. I think I lost my notes here, but it doesn't. You get what I'm saying? Is like you can have people getting eaten, you can have severe violence. You just got to be cautious about how much blood you put in the movie, how much direct gore. Like, so if you have like silhouettes and shadows, and you do like a lot of like like lighting tricks and angles and stuff like that, you can get away with quite a bit before it tips to R. And with that, they can market Spider-Man in the same universe. They can have Venom on backpacks and t-shirts because it's PG-13. It's not rated R. It's not adult content. It's parental guidance, 13. So you can do that. And so with that fits directly into their universe building. Eventually, they'd be able to cross over with any of the other movies if Kevin Feige was ever to allow that. Very unlikely, but if that was the case, they could do that. So they made a very smart business move, but also I wanted to point out the fact that Venom is going to be right where it needs to be. There's no reason why it needs to be rated R. Venom's never been a sexualized character. Venom has never needed cussing. He's usually the one causing other people to cuss because they're terrified. Usually, it's like, oh my gosh, like people see this monster coming at you. It's the size of the Hulk, but it looks like this twisted like ball or mass of oil and yuck, and with gigantic teeth. What big teeth you have, Grandma. It's like that. So in this idea, I would say that, yeah. Oh, I found my notes. I'm sorry. I found those. I messed up the way that I typed it. That's why it got lost to me. Sorry about that, guys. Spider-Man crossovers is possible, and not only is possible, but will be better for being PG-13. It's going to be closer to the source material, and that is very, very important. I don't care what anybody tells you. If you stay close to source material, you have a much greater shot at appeasing the audience that you are marketing towards. Like if you think that you can make a comic book movie and change everything about it that once was in the comics, like for instance, casting Michael B. Jordan as Superman, huge mistake. That would be a huge mistake. I'd still go see the movie, but that is a huge mistake. Yeah, I saw someone online put up the Elseworld Superman in the multiverse where there was another world where Superman was African American. That's totally fine if you make an Elseworld movie, but you can't tell the entire world that the Superman they grew up with, that is white, that is from Kansas. Yes, he's white. There's nothing wrong with that. He's white. There should be a white actor. In that respect, I would be absolutely outraged to see them do Cyborg or Martian Manhunter or John Stewart Green Lantern. Any of those guys, if you cast anyone but a black dude for those roles, I am going to be pissed. I'm going to be very pissed. You're going to hear it from me online. You will. And likewise, I stand for the characters that are white in origin. Keep them relatively white. At least make them look like the original source material. It's about accuracy. If you're pandering to social justice warriors, you're not targeting the target demographic of comic book fans. I'm sorry, you're not. You're going to get some crossover where there's some, SJWs who want that, but you're going to lose money in the box office for sure. People are not going to be happy about that. So let me continue forward. Keeping it close to the source material, PG-13 is a great idea. You're going to have plenty of violence. You are going to see people eat get eaten. We've already seen Venom basically eat someone in the trailer. And unless that's insanely misleading, which I do not believe it is. And I'm pretty sure we're going to see all the other symbiotes in the movie do the exact same thing. They're going to be eating people all day. In addition to that, I wanted to point out other movies that have lots of violence, and they are very intense. They have some scary looking scenes, you know, where the characters are scary or the moments are scary. The Dark Knight. Need I say any more? The Dark Knight was PG-13, guys, and that was plenty dark. You do not need to go rated R for that. Taken was another one. Drag Me to Hell, Spawn for crying out loud was rated PG-13. If Spawn is PG-13, that should tell you something, that you don't need a rated R. You don't need to go rated R to make something dark, sinister, violent, gory. You can have all of that in Venom. And I actually don't think it's going to be super gory. I think they're going to withhold a little bit on the gore, but there will be plenty of creepy, crazy violence, which will be perfect. I think that's going to be great. And then I mentioned Live Free or Die Hard earlier. That was in my notes. Those are PG-13. A movie can be both dark and extremely violent and not rated R. It can work. So, and then the potential for the crossover with Spider-Man, it makes it perfect setup for a potential future for business and marketing. So from that standpoint, it's excellent. From the source material aspect, it's excellent. It'll be great. And also, one of the best news of all, that the tickets are now on sale. So the tickets are now on sale. The movie comes out October 5th, 2018. I have the IMDb page up right here. It is, the countdown has it at 19 days, 1 hour, 37 minutes, and 52 seconds. So obviously that's going to be different by the time you guys see this. If you're not tuned in now, you will see it once it's uploaded, and it will obviously be different. But go check out the IMDb for Venom. So type in, imdb.com, search Venom. It'll be there. You can have the countdown right there on the right. It looks awesome. It actually has a fun quote too. It says, "The world has enough superheroes." And then it says Tom Hardy, Venom. It looks really good. So I'm super excited. They could not have gotten a better actor for this role. Tom Hardy is perfect for this. He's already shown in the trailer that he's got that dichotomy talking to himself, that really twisted, battle, wrestling his demons and that kind of stuff. All that looks really good so far. Woody Harrelson, there's no way in the world he's not playing Carnage. He's playing Carnage, guys. But what else is interesting here? This is rumored, okay? So this is not confirmed, but on the IMDb page, they list it as rumored. Reed Scott, he was in, let me see what he's in. Reed Scott, he was in Veep. He was in The Big C. He was in My Boys. He was in Dean. Let me list some things you guys may be more familiar with. Nerdland, Turbo Fast, Zoo. He was in New Girl for, I think, an episode. He played Ted. He was also in That 70s Show, also played Ted. And a long laundry list of other things that I'm not super familiar with. Oh, he also was in CSI New York, which is important. CSI Crime Scene Investigation. He was also in there. He plays a lot of cops. F2 Forensic Factor. He plays a lot of cops and a lot of law enforcement types, which is very critical because the rumor here on the IMDb for Venom is that he is playing Patrick Mulligan. And this is important because that is the guy who becomes Toxin. Toxin. So for those of you guys who don't know, Venom is the original symbiote that comes to Earth. There's I forgot what they're called, the Life Foundation or something like that. They try to replicate Venom. They make several clones. This is comics, right? So the movie doesn't have to follow this, but it looks like it might. They make clones of Venom. They're trying to figure it out, study it, learn about it, and then those guys get bonded. Those symbiotes get bonded with a bunch of dudes from the Life Foundation. They're test subjects. Venom bonds with Eddie Brock. Eddie Brock ends up fighting all these guys. I don't want to get too much in the details because I'm pretty sure I have a good idea of where they're going in the story. I don't want to potentially spoil something just by giving away all of this, but you see this in the trailer, so I'm not going to give you more than we see in the trailer. Now, in addition to that, eventually, Venom gives birth to another symbiote. So when I say another, I mean the first one. So the other ones were clones of Venom, lesser clones, but still very savage and also clones. Now, what's even greater than a clone is a direct spawn. All the power that you get from the first symbiote, when it spawns, it gives more power. That next symbiote has more like viciousness, more violence. It has all the rage and the power of the first, but also depending on who it bonds with, has more. So that one we believe is going to be what was his name? I'm sorry. Woody Harrelson playing Carnage. Carnage is the spawn of Venom. So Venom spawns Carnage. Carnage becomes one of the worst things to ever happen to Spider-Man. He is a monster, absolute monster, because Woody Harrelson's character, which we think is Woody Harrelson's character, it's not confirmed, but if he's playing Cletus Cassidy was a serial murderer, and he was in jail, and Eddie Brock gets thrown in jail, and that's how the Venom symbiote, like, it spawns Carnage, and then Carnage in the jail goes to the nearest guy, and then he finds Woody Harrelson's character. Well, we assume Woody Harrelson's character. I keep saying that. I shouldn't be saying that. It's not confirmed yet. But if it's Cletus Cassidy, boom, you've got Carnage. Now, Carnage eventually does give birth, a spawn, to another symbiote. This one is called Toxin, and it's the greatest of the three. So as you continue to have spawns, they continue to get more amplified. But what's interesting is that Reed Scott is rumored to play Patrick Mulligan, and Patrick Mulligan was a New York City police officer, a good guy. And when Carnage spawns this next symbiote, he's weak from the spawning, but he tries to kill the symbiote, and it survives. It leaves, it goes away. It finds what was it? His name? Patrick Mulligan. Sorry, Patrick Mulligan is Toxin. So they bond together, the symbiote and the police officer. Now, it amplifies whatever you have inside of you. So it amplifies your flaws, it amplifies your intentions, and it's crazy. So even though the symbiote is not good, it also amplifies Patrick Mulligan. He's a good guy. He's a cop. And some people, like the idiot Tom Lay, who wrote that scathing article about Spider-Man on PlayStation 4, he is an idiot. He's a cop hater. And he wrote the article after playing the game for, he says, a few hours. I do not believe him. I believe he probably played 1 to 2 hours and was so pissed off that he was forced. This is what he says. He says he was forced to work with the New York City police officers, which he despises. And so that's his entire rant. He has no other grounds for the game, no other thing to say about it, because he didn't even finish the story. He didn't even get halfway. It's a long game. I'm still playing it. I've gotten to like 50 something. I think I'm 53% right now. And I've been playing since last Sunday. This last Sunday. And it's a great game. One of the best I've ever played. It's awesome. And that also because I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, but I was also a Arkham fan. Arkham Knight was one of the best games I ever played as well. It's got almost the same. It's like a copy paste, but they turned the brightness all the way up, and you realize you're not playing as Batman, you're playing as Spider-Man. It's amazing. So good. I can't recommend it enough. But this guy is he's a freaking he hates the cops. That's his beef. And so he's upset that the game makes you play with the cops. It's the stupidest thing I ever heard. The guy's an idiot. And you can feel free to disagree with me if you guys feel like you sympathize with Tom Lay. I want to hear from you guys. I actually talked about this in my podcast, but I won't plug that here. Forget about it. Forget I said anything. And then anyway, he's a New York City cop. He ends up going to he starts to try to figure out, how can I not hurt my wife and newborn son. He ditches out because he realizes he's going to be a threat to them. He's trying to figure it out and get control of the symbiote, but he's a good guy. Venom and Carnage both know that he's probably a good guy and he's going to become a good guy, and they're both not good guys. So they team up to try to take out Toxin and lose. They lose. So the rumor here is that, which is exciting, is that they're not only plugging they're going to have all these symbiotes fighting Venom in this first movie. They're going to tease hopefully Woody Harrelson as Cletus Cassidy. And I hope I don't see Carnage yet in this movie. I hope that maybe at most, we see the Venom symbiote misbehaving, and then all of a sudden it splits in two at the end, and one of them is red and one of them is black, and that's all you see. I hope that we don't get too much, because I want the next movie to be Carnage, and then hopefully following that it's Toxin. And then, maybe they'll get into like anti-Venom after that. You can go a lot of ways. Some people don't realize there is a lot more than Carnage in the Venom universe. But I'm grateful that they're starting off Venom with the Life Foundation. It's a very unique way to start. I would not have thought to do this. I'm not that creative. I hope that the people making movies are more creative than the fans. But I'm thinking that this is going to be a really good one. And I think that it sets it up nicely to have Carnage be the end tease, hopefully. But we don't get too much. I don't even want to see him bond, really. I mean, if we do, that's cool. But I want it to be all about its own story. I hope that it's not like half the story is plugging Carnage, plugging Carnage, plugging Carnage. Just tease it very lightly at the end. And then in the next movie, you can have the whole story be about Carnage, to the point that not a lot of people even know what's going on until the trailer drops. You know what I mean? And then after that, you can do the whole, like, Carnage is starting to have the spawn, and so then Carnage is about to spawn, and then in the third movie you get Toxin. That would be really cool. I'm super, but they're already showing that potentially Reed Scott is playing Patrick Mulligan. I'm so excited. I could not be more happy with the PG-13 rating. I could not be more happy with the cast so far. And I'm really excited for the rumored things like Woody Harrelson potentially playing Cletus Cassidy, and then also Reed Scott rumored to play Patrick Mulligan. That is big news. And this all got me riled up when I saw the trailers and stuff playing at the Canelo Triple G fight, which was awesome. And yeah, guys, we've only got 19 days. In 1 hour, it'll be 18 days technically, because I'm filming right now at like 10:30. So that's all it is there for you guys. But let me know down in the comments. I cannot wait to hear from you guys. Are you guys as excited as I am? Are you guys more excited? What do you think is going to happen in the movie? Are the trailers misleading us? Do you guys think that Woody Harrelson is playing Cletus Cassidy? Do you think that we're going to get to see Carnage at all? Do you think it'll be in the movie, in the post-credit, or not at all? And then also, what do you guys think about what's his name? Sorry, I totally dropped the name right now. I was on a roll right now. Reed Scott, that's the actor's name. So Reed Scott playing Patrick Mulligan, potentially being Toxin. Do you think that rumor is true? Do you think that it's false? And what do you want it to be? I'm super excited. I hope that all that's true. And I hope that, I just can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see all of it. It's going to be awesome. You guys rock. I can't wait to hear from you in the comments. You can tell I'm so excited. Thank you guys. You guys are the best. You guys have a great rest of your night, and I will see you guys next time right here on The Stuff of Legend.